Hello and welcome to Allergy Hour with me and my nose. Hello, I'm also here with Kanan. In today's episode, we're gonna talk about open relationships and allergies. Oh no, not allergies. That's a lie. I'm trying to laugh the pain away. I haven't been able to breathe for 2 weeks.
Oh my god, Lo-Fi, no, stop it. You shouldn't do that. Like, can you like not because I need you.
Yeah, but I'm trying my best. I'm trying all all that I can. So if I sound disgusting and sneeze, I can't help it. I'll try to not do it. But FYI, chat, this is not gonna be the sexiest of noses.
I mean, you can still be like dying and still sound sexy low. Like it's still possible, but the whole thing is like don't being sick is fine. It happens. Whatever. Just you're not allowed to die. So don't do that.
Yeah, I'll do. Okay, I
Okay.
promise I won't die.
Okay, good. Because I really don't want to have to pull out my books and resurrect your body. And I
Okay,
would. I would because
I'm
I
glad.
love you.
I'm
But
very
today's
glad.
so today's episode is open relationships. And low, if you and I were in a relationship, it would have to be open. Because like I said, the top half of me is bi, the bottom half of me is straight.
Yeah, I
Actually, have I ever
understand
said
that.
that live on stream before? I know I've told you before.
I actually don't think I'm unsure you have said that live stream. I know you said it, yeah, in Hangouts and after streams, but yeah.
All right. Well, chat, just so you know, that's a thing with me. I can talk a really great game, like an amazing game, a fantastic game. I could probably pull women in if I really wanted to. But penis is a thing for me. Like like as I said before, top half of me bi, like for sure bi. Like it doesn't matter. Bottom half of me, but anyway, that's beside the point. We're talking about open relationships. Mostly, I want to talk about how the fuck one makes an open relationship work. Lo, have you ever been in an open relationship before?
No, I have not.
Oh.
I honest to God don't have any intention of being in an open relationship because every person I know that has been in an open relationship has ended just spectacularly in burning fire and brimstone. It's like something out of the Bible.
Well, do you want to know the reason for that though? Like out of your friends and their open relationships, like give me an example of like how that had gone for just
No,
choose a yeah.
so what happens is every single time they set up rules and they don't enforce them, or half of them don't enforce them. The other half always find someone they are get interested in, and then they of course don't want to enforce the rules. It's always in my case of friends. It's always my friends who I honest to God uh probably don't have the strongest or doesn't have as strong as a relationship as they think they have. That does it, and of course then at some that breaks. That's yeah.
Yeah. Tyro Ingoy is actually asking if we're going to talk about poly swinging and open differences. And there actually there are some differences. But pretty much it's like the differences in being a Christian kind of thing. Um like anybody who believes in the word of Jesus Christ in some way, shape, or form, I count as Christian. Just like swinging and poly, would be
Would too.
that's open. They're both open.
Yeah, they are both two different kinds of say open relationship, but then of course there's the open relationship enough of itself. Could you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's many different kinds of open relationship. And okay, I can see if you're in a poly, that's probably pre-established when you go into a relationship. When you're into swinging, there's a big chance you also find that with a person who's also into swinging. Because if you don't, I don't think that relationship is gonna last that long either. But the other when a regular couple that haven't done that through the years start doing the relationship thing, that's all my friends who started who that's gone wrong. None of them has been poly beforehand, and none of them have been into swinging beforehand.
Yeah. And John Doe, people that aren't in open relationship talk about open relationships. I'm not currently in one because I pulled myself out of one because I saw some of the negative aspects and the fact that people weren't following their own rules, and I don't deal with that drama. I have been part of open relationships before. I've offered open relationships to my partners before due to the fact that I am poly.
Okay, see, Tyro, you said closed poly isn't open though. That would be right. But then again, that wouldn't be part of the conversation. Then, I, you silly
Okay.
bitch.
Yeah. No. Well. All right. Tyro. I want to know like what it is you mean by closed poly.
That's a closed group of people who fuck each other, where they wouldn't fuck outside the group.
Yes, but that's still in and of itself open to each other.
That's kind of open, but not. Again, that I think a closed poly even more so would be pre-established when the relationship starts that this is something people want.
Yes, and there's and it's always that's the thing that's where it always goes wrong when it comes to open relationships, poly relationships, swing relationships, any of that. The thing that always goes wrong is the lack of communication. And you know the complications. You know, there's always the more people that are part of it, the more complicated it becomes. And especially when feelings start to get like so deeply involved, because with a lot of relationships, it starts with two mains. You know, it just starts with two, and then it branches out. But it's still supposed to be those two. You know, should be like the number one concern in the relationship. Like that's one of my biggest issues with people who are like, oh, we're gonna try, you know, being poly, or we're gonna try an open relationship because, you know, it'd be fun to fuck around. I'm like, yeah, no, but you gotta fucking know the rules, and you gotta fucking know how to handle this shit, and you gotta know how to fucking handle your own goddamn emotions. Now, if you're one of those people who's like, no, I'm poly, I love everybody, and so me being in love with multiple people is okay. Yes, it is okay. But at the same time, like, either you shouldn't have a main relationship if that's your whole mindset going in, or if you have a main relationship, you have to realize, like, you have to be cognizant and careful and considerate and of every single person's feelings. Like that's what makes it get so complicated, is like all the multiple different feelings involved.
Yeah.
John Doe. Yeah, no. First rule, communication is everything. Second rule, everyone gets jealous. At some point, yes, everyone can get jealous, which is why if you have a main, you focus on your fucking main and you do everything you can to make sure they know no matter what is happening, you are my number one.
Yeah, and that's where it often breaks. I find from people I know that's the breaking point, is someone gets jealous or worried in that regard and goes like, okay, let's focus on each other now, and the other person is like, no, No, I'm having fun now.
Yeah. And like you can have your fun, you can, but you have to still be considerate. You have to like that's your main person. It can't work if you're not thinking of your main person and you're just thinking of yourself. And that's one of the things that I find a lot when it comes to people who are trying to be poly is they wind up like thinking just of themselves. They're just like, well, I don't want to stop it, even though you're obviously getting upset and you're my main. I don't want to stop it because, my vagina's happy or my dick is wet. Like, and it doesn't work. John, if I would love to be able to get you on so you can talk with us about it because like you're in a working open relationship. And I can only assume that it's working if you've been in one with her for 19 years.
Tyra, what are your thoughts on validity of compassion as an emotion, real or nonsense? Okay, so that's the feeling of joy when other ones is taking pleasure from another romantic or sexual relationship. That's a weird feeling. I've never had that feeling. That's what makes cocking happen.
Yeah. I don't have any real issues with it. If it's your thing, it's your thing.
Yeah, I've never heard of compulsion, but is it then if it I guess it's the where you don't get turned on that your wife or man is banging someone else, but you get happy that you know that they are having fun banging someone else. I guess that's a I don't know why would that be nonsense. Some people have that. That's fine. My mom was married for an asshat for 19 years. I'm glad to know that, Ruby.
Thanks, Tribby. But no, and that's another thing that there's some people who are part of open or poly relationships where it's simply because like no, I don't want to go and fuck around. I just want to like I'm just happy knowing you're able to go and fuck around. And
No.
and I guess like I mean if that's what you're into, if that's what you like go ahead and do it like whatever makes you happy. But again, like the number one rule about all of this stuff, as John had mentioned, was communication is like everything. And it really is.
I think that's a general thing in many of the what can you say more extreme kinks. You gotta fucking talk with each other. You can't go on Gefühl. That means feeling. On German, I don't know why I said it in German.
Chirpy Poo says he wouldn't be able to be in an open relationship because he gets jealous. But lots of people get jealous. Like, there's always gonna be that moment. Like I know some people who get jealous over other people who aren't even in relationships that they're in relationships with. They're just like, I really like this person and I'm kind of jealous that they're paying attention. It's a common thing. Jealousy is natural and normal and whatever, but it's when it starts to become an issue or a virulent problem, that's when you need to fucking stop, like, and take a look at yourself. Because what's it's like even so just to clarify, Zell and I are not in a relationship other than like friendship. He's like my adopted brother. But he's pointed out that any female, almost any female, when I first get to hear about them or know about them, and if he's like, yeah, they're cool people, I almost automatically hate them. And it's like it's almost like a slight jealousy thing. Like, no, that's my friend. Like, what are you doing? You fucking back away. And if it's something like romantic, then I'm fucking judging this bitch even harder because I'm like, what are you gonna do to my friend? Are you gonna be good to my friend? Are you gonna take care of him, kind of thing? And you know, like it's almost the jealousy is almost a sign of possessiveness. You know?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's also. It's also just not a sign of possessiveness. Also a sign of what's it called? Fuck, I don't remember the word. Anxious that when you're scared, you don't maybe don't believe in yourself enough that you're worth keeping, so you get jealous and such. Because maybe,
Lack
yeah,
of self confidence, maybe.
yeah, something like that. Self-esteem
Yeah.
problems and such.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a sign of like, you know, like, oh shit, am I about to lose my friend to somebody who's obviously better? Like it could be that kind of thing. Or when it comes to um romantic relationships, that's what jealousy could be a sign of is, oh shit, am I about to lose this person that I'm so like involved with to somebody who might be better? And that's another complication that tends to arise a lot when it comes to open is um is the jealousy thing. John Doe, no, we are not using Discord.
My head is exploding.
Well, tell it to stop.
Stop.
But
It worked.
but when it again with open relationships, if you're going to be jealous, um, then maybe you and it's a constant issue where you start getting into fights or arguments or disagreements even with your main significant other. You guys need to stop and figure each other out and figure out what's going on with you two first and foremost. And when I talk about open relationships, I of course mean where it's two people who are each other's mains. Like you are like if you and I were in an open relationship, Lo-Fi, it'd be me and you know? It
Yeah.
would be me and you, and then maybe outside of each other we'll dabble. But the thing is, as soon as you start getting upset over anything happening with the outside dabbling, I stop. Or as soon as, you know, you say, hey, like, I don't think we should be in open, then I don't. Like, I talk about, like, I'm okay with being poly, but I'm just as okay with being monogamous. Like, if I really love and care about a person, then fuck yeah, like, I don't mind being monogamous. Are you done dying yet? Because
No.
you need to, like, not die.
I'm trying my but I'm gonna say so Hitsuki says my jealousy stems from my horrible relationships, but I hate being like that and try not to let it get to me, but it happens. I think you every I don't think I think everyone gets jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's something you should fear, something you should hate. It's gonna happen at some point. It can be jealousy or envious. It depends, of course, of what it is. But so yeah, so don't hate that feeling because it's gotta happen.
Yes, and one of the things is you can learn from your own jealousy. You know, you can take that. I guess this is turning from because jealousy is a big factor when it comes to open relationships. So fuck yeah, we're going to be talking about that part a lot. But when you start to feel jealous in any way, shape, or form, don't fucking run from the feeling. Don't try and hide from the feeling. Embrace it in a healthy way and use it to evaluate, well, why am I feeling jealous? And what is this saying? You know? Now, if it's, I'm feeling jealous because I've had really bad relationships in the past where um as soon as I notice like my significant other paying attention to somebody else who I found to be attractive as well as they found to be attractive, then and they fucked me over because they decided they wanted to go and bang that without, the permission, I guess, of the open. Um I can understand that kind of jealousy. That's one of those things where you can't help it. It was a bad experience and shit happens. But it's something that you need to really look into on yourself and figure out, because you can't keep being jealous with every single person that you wind up being with. You can't. I've known people who started getting jealous and paranoid and shit like that because they themselves had the inclination to fuck around without, the given permissions or guidelines that like the opens and the poly relationships had set forth. Like they're like, no, we're going to be monogamous, but then they fucked around, and then all of a sudden they see that their significant other is flirting with someone, and they're like, oh, obviously if I'm fucking around, they're fucking around.
Yeah. And to answer Tyro says, remember that monogamy is relatively new and anomalous in human history, so it's also good to discuss the historical forms, concubines, polygamy of men with wives, and the modern one of mistresses. That is true to a point. The idea of monogamy has basically existed since religions and society started to make a form of marriage. But at that point, of course, it was still only the lower caste that would stick to one partner and not the upper caste like kings and such, because of course rules don't apply to them. So yeah, it is an old thing, but
Mhm.
it got very very quickly phased into being the thing in the world. So monogamy is the status quo, and polygamy and such has become the weird thing now.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it doesn't seem weird. Again, I have um offered my significant others when I've been in relationships, I've offered them the open because of the fact that I don't know, it seems a normal natural thing where a to me a guy wants to, dip his dick, and maybe I'm not in the mood for him to use me. And so like I've offered it before. It's a safe bet.
No, Tyro, no, no, no. Uh, I do agree, but I'm not talking from. We're not. I can right now. My head that explodes. Because I agree, it depends on the society. Like everything I've studied in history and such, it's been like that all my degrees and such. But yeah, there's definitely many still. But I basically mostly think in our type of the world, where I think most people who watch the show is probably as well. But yeah, every society does also, like the society is ruled by women, where the women can have the multiple partners, but the men cannot, and vice
Yeah.
versa for that matter. It's very open. It's mostly in the West, where let's say the Western cultures like ours and such, where monogamy has become the status quo. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
All
And
right, I'm
and
here.
Hey, John.
Hello.
hi, Buzz. Real quick. You also have to think about the outside partner's feelings. That's true. You have to be cognizant and aware, but you also need to make sure you lay down that shit with your outside partners. And if they don't seem like they're the kind of people who would be accepting of the fact that when you are with your main, that is who it should be about, then that's not the right kind of outside partner you need. Like it needs to be something. And John, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
But it needs to be it. So I've been aside many times in different open relationships, and there's that I've had the experience where the girl got jealous and and the guy was like, well, it doesn't matter because I like it. And so I had to cut it off. And then it's always been the experience, because I always tell the guy whenever he's like, oh, be part of this with me. And if the girl's like, yeah, no, it's totally cool. I always tell him, all right, but here's the thing. I am treating you like my side piece. Even though I don't have a main right now, I am treating you like my side, and I expect you to treat me the same way, because that's how this shit will work. I am not looking to get too in depth and too involved in feelings with you. I am just looking to be able to enjoy spending time with you. And when it's me and you, but when she's around in any way, shape, or form, unless it has otherwise been discussed, it is about you and her. But that's me. And John, if you were saying you've been in an open relationship with your wife for 19 years?
Yeah, we've been married and for 19 years. We've been in an open relationship the entire time. I don't sound like I'm over 40, but I'm actually over 40.
No worries.
But yeah, I will say at the beginning, it is extremely, especially if you're new to it, it's extremely difficult to get through the first barriers. But over time, you get used to it. And keep in mind that like we don't have an always practicing. We're not always practicing. We're not always out on the prowl type thing. It's not that type of thing.
It's just if the opportunity arises, it arises.
Yeah. The first one of the things that you learn from it, obviously, besides communication and jealousy and all that kind of stuff, is that when people are getting into this, one thing you have to, the mindset that worked for us and works for a lot of people is the first thing understanding in a relationship is you will never be able to meet all of your partner's fantasies and needs and desires out of anything. You will never be able to do it. If you think that, you're fooling yourself. So the open relationship aspect of it basically allowed us to explore outside of just us. I will never be an Asian boy. And she will never be an Asian woman. So that's never going to happen. Oh, Dyra wants to debate me.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm not against that.
Debate me.
Fight him.
But yeah, a lot of stuff we both have jealousies. We both have insecurities. No one doesn't. How you express it is what will destroy a relationship.
Exactly.
That's the biggest key.
And also communication too. Yeah. Like if you don't communicate your feelings in a healthy way, that's what will also tear to shreds. That's what will also fuck up, the relationship. If you're not communicating in a healthy way, like if you just wind up fucking going in immediately on the attack kind of thing because of either your own insecurities or otherwise, you have to talk openly about this stuff. And you have to have, especially in an open relationship, you have to, with like, say, John, with you and your wife, like if either of you are feeling upset or jealous in any way, shape, or form, you go to the other and talk with each other.
Yeah. And we're also in the kink scene, so that also that's why communication in the kink scene is number 1 too. That's why you find a lot of open poly relationships in the kink scene. It's all very closely tied together as far as that communication goes.
Yes, exactly. Like if anybody is into BDSM in any way, shape, or form, and you're not communicating, then you shouldn't be into BDSM. Like you need to communicate both sides in some way, shape, or form. Both sides need to communicate, whether it be a dom or a sub.
Yeah, and if you're getting into BDSM and you're not communicating, be prepared to be have charges filed against you, possibly
I mean, yeah, charges.
because some of that BDSM stuff, you're committing a felony. You're not.
Yes.
It's not. Don't fuck around with that shit. You're committing assault.
Not necessarily. It depends on what the other person. It depends on what the submissive is into. You know, like
Like I said,
when
when you start getting into the deep shit, you're committing assault. You're committing a felony.
because I'm a dom who specializes with sensations play. Basically, I take one of the senses away. Mostly it's just sight, and I keep you from touching and feeling me while I have all the control of the touch and the feel.
Right.
But you never know, and none of it has to do with me causing pain unless it is something you desire, like as my sub. But other than that, like it's more about just the feelings and stuff like that. And so, but I need to have a sub who will communicate with me about like, no, I don't really like that, that's too late, or no, like I don't really like that, that's too hard, or too, like stuff like that. I've gone into the deeper shit, and yeah, no, knife play can get really deep. Pun not intended. But yeah, no, when it comes it's a relationship thing in general. It doesn't even need to be about open. It's relationship thing in general. Communicate. Just fucking communicate.
And even when even in an open relationship or BDSM or whatever, a lot of the problems that you face is not with your significant other. It really stems from the other person on the quote unquote the outsider.
Mm-hmm. The side,
because they may not have they can get jealous, they can do some really weird shit, and they don't understand that how it all works, and blah 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 blah. They don't get it.
Yeah, I've met plenty of people who were sides who pretty much they were like, no, when he's mine and I'm his, and I'm like, but he has a main. But that's just blah blah blah, like he's gonna build a life with me. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. If you are actually serious about being in a poly, you shouldn't be serious about like, hey, I got this guy who's going to give me a life, who's going to build a life with me. No, you live your own fucking life. If you're a side, you go and live your own fucking life. You go and look for your own fucking relationships, and you can still love and care and cherish that other person.
Yeah.
But they have somebody to go home to at night, and you are completely dispensable as a side piece. Always remember that. And they should always be completely dispensable as your side piece if they have a main, because they have somebody to go back home to. You should not be trying to be like, well, let me woo this person because I really love and care about them. No. That's not what it's about. What it's about is you two are exploring with each other. And if you don't have anybody else, then you should be open to the idea of having your own main. And so I'd gotten out of a couple months ago, I'd gotten out of being the side in a poly relationship. I actually pulled myself away because I'm like, she's getting jealous and I don't play this game. And I was not stopping my life to try and build a life with his.
Yeah.
Because he has a life. He had a life with his main. They have a life together.
Good day. Good day.
Hey, what's happening?
Has everyone assembled? I am the Savage Frogbarian. You may have known me before by another name. However, I've been training at Beardy's mixed martial arts gym for savagery. And I have been given this new name. And I've heard things at this gym that insult me. And they insult my very manhood. I feel like there is a man here who needs a lesson in how to be more savage. Is this man you? Are you the one who is in this so-called open relationship?
Of course I am.
And by open, I assume you mean that you will throw other wives into the pit with your harem. But this does not mean that other warriors are allowed to come take part in experiencing the goods that you have gained by conquering your enemies. Please tell me it's not true.
Both.
No, there can be no both. You see, my friend, I'm afraid maybe you were sick one day at school when they were explaining this to you, but I'm going to explain it to you now. This is not your fault. This is not your fault, but I am going to explain this to you.
Okay.
It is good to destroy your enemies and take your women unto yourselves as slaves, so they may marvel and clutch at you and adore you in your manly godliness. Yes, these things are good.
Yeah, I'm not into the Gregorian shit.
Excuse me, sir, you're wrong. I'm trying to correct you. Fundamentally, I came into this conversation letting you know up front, I'm going to correct you. So adding more of your wrong, bad life choices onto the fire is doing nothing more than igniting the flame of your own destruction more. Now, you need to listen to me, sir. I spent all day today in what really calls the Wheel of Pain. I have learned the lesson of the Wheel of Pain, and the lesson of the Wheel of Pain is this, my friend. And it is, do not let other warriors and peasants, for that matter, come and take a part of your prize, take a part of your women. Your part as a man is to conquer others and win every manly competition. And the most manly competition one can engage in, I dare say, other than slaying your enemies, is to conquer women and to claim them as a prize and to build yourself a harem. And you, sir, are driving the value down in your own harem by allowing other men to experience the joys of carnal pleasure that should only be held for you. For these are things you won.
You're making an assumption.
All right, I'll say bye.
I am waiting to hear your assumption, my friend, because this should be good.
Yeah, you're making it.
I will laugh heartily.
Yeah, you're making an assumption that that the others are sexual.
Well, if they're not sexual and they're not cooking you something, then what good are they keeping women around? This makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand what you're telling me. Not all of them are sexual. Are you telling me that you keep some women there to carry the sexual women to you? Sure. That is the only scenario in which this makes sense.
Sure.
Okay, and what about the other men that I have heard of? You do not welcome other men into your bed. That would be fatalism, sir.
Oh, it's not just my bed.
It doesn't matter how many women share your bed with you. If there's another man there, there's a problem, sir. It doesn't matter how big the pool is. You're making penis soup. You must allow me to tell you. Is this a wife of yours that has deceived you in this way? Have you met a witch?
No.
Could this possibly be a witch that has put you under a spell?
Maybe. It's quite possible.
I would like to tell you a story about a witch once put me under a spell. You see, I was once wanting to gain the affections of a young maiden, and so I was told that if I went and gained something of value that I could present to her, then she would then become mine. I would not have to slay her father and then rape her on the corpse of her slain family. I wanted to avoid this at all costs because this was also my third cousin, and it would upset my mother. So I went on a quest to the Temple of Akara on the bottom of the sub-basement where the serpent of Slyn was there, and I cut his heart out of his chest. Well, the whole thing is a chest, really, when you get underneath a giant serpent, but much toward the beginning of what you would call the throat, and I carved his crystal heart out of his chest, and I presented it to this maiden that I loved. Now, I wanted to find a maiden who was worthy of my genius, so I went to the local apothecary, and I presented it to one of the more scholarly women there, but she was what you might call a progressive. And she became very upset about the suffering of the snake itself. And, oh, it's wrong to kill snakes. And, oh, I'm a vegetarian. So I asked a wizard that also was in the apothecary what to do. And his name was Magog. And he said to slay her and give her heart to a witch. And the witch could then provide me with a more suitable consort. So that is what I did. I drove my dagger deep into her chest and carved out her heart. I brought both hearts to a witch. And then she used the heart to, unfortunately, place a love spell upon me, which she kept me enslaved for many years. So yes, sir, I too know the horrors of marriage, but that is no excuse to be cut.
Okay, AP, I am going to disagree with you, and you can go ahead and spank me later. But
Yes, yes.
it's not about being cucked.
Yeah, because there is a difference.
Are,
You know
are
what
you
that-
watching another man make love to your consort?
No.
No, so he's
Oh,
not
but
being
then
he's
what-
not
what-
being cucked.
So it's not being why. So you're just basically pimping. You're loaning women out to other men. For profit. you're pimping in
Yes,
exchange
yes, he's
for pussy as
pimping.
payment.
That is,
You're
that's what he's doing. Yeah.
you're
Yes,
pimping your
yes.
wife in exchange for pussy payments in return from another woman.
Yes, there we go. So John, just say yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you for having me on the show tonight. I have been the Savage Frogberry, and I remind you all to visit Beardy's Mixed Martial Arts Gym of Ultimate Savagery. And we'll see you next time. Yes, yes.
Bye, Andy. Thanks for joining.
Oh, God damn it, AP.
That was nice.
Although-
A long rant instantly defeated with a single sentence.
Although the fact that he did kind of sound like Vegeta, I'm just saying, like it's AP mixed with Vegeta, like super sploosh right now for me.
The king of all Satans.
Yes. So, John, can you explain to people exactly how you're not being cucked because of the fact? And you know what? It's not entirely a bad. I know that you're saying that you're not. It's not always active, which makes perfect sense to me. And I know a lot of people just automatically think, oh, if you're in an open relationship, you're being cucked. No, that's not what it is. It's called about it communicating.
If we want to play the let's define things game, where the origins of cucking came from outside of the whole Shakespeare and shit like that, but in the kink scene, cucking is a fetish. Being cucked is a fetish. Watching someone else be with your partner is a fetish. There's a sexual nature to it. Someone who likes being cucked gets sexual pleasure out of it. You know, the whole sitting in the corner jerking off while your partner is getting fucked by someone else. That's being cucked. It's a fetish. While they jerk off in the corner. Yeah, that's being cucked. But allowing your partner to have sex with her, well, I say allow, but that's not really the right term.
Well, no, I get what you mean. I get what you're trying to say because it's not. It's about both of you accepting
me,
and
sir.
being okay with.
Don't call me having an emotional relationship. Excuse me.
How old is John's wife? Is asked in chat.
She's about as old as I am.
Yeah,
That's great.
but when it comes to the open relationship thing, it's not about allowance. Like it's acceptance. You know,
Yeah.
like you guys are accepting and communicative of the choice of being okay with each other's choice. And I'm pretty sure that if one of you was not okay with it,
Exactly.
you know, then it would stop.
Yeah. And it's happened before. What's her digits? and we've gone through that before where we just stopped it, whether it's out of mutual respect or whatever. That's happened. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I don't have to. I'm not. We're not sitting there on the prowl 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Something comes along and it works out. It works out.
And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But you
Yeah.
guys, no matter what, we'll still always have each other,
Yeah.
and we'll still always have, you know, that communication and that love for each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's and I think that's one of the faults that lies with a lot of other people who attempt to do open relationships is it instead of it being like, well, I'm okay if this is something that makes you happy, and you're okay if it's something that makes me happy, and we just talk and explore, and if it's done, it's done, but if it's okay, then it's okay, and we see if it works. But with a lot of it, it's just like, well, I want to go and fuck around, but I want to have you as my backup plan.
Well, yeah, sort of.
Yeah, that's
the backup plan, but I am the primary plan. Everybody else,
no. I'm talking about like with other people who try it.
Yeah.
So the reason why it fails is because it's the exploring the grass is greener thing versus, oh, I'm just gonna go and take a walk over in this park, but I'm going straight back home.
Yeah. Well, and I could say, I guess technically, well, no, I'm not. No, I was looking at the comment, the Bruni. How does it feel knowing your wife's been black? Well, my wife is black, so.
Oh well, that kind of yeah. Okay.
Does that mean I'm blacked?
Well, I mean,
Oh, did you know that?
you've had some black on you.
Yeah. You have dipped the pen in ink.
Yes, you've dipped the pen in ink.
Exactly.
But it's people make it. All the jokes aside, we've heard all the jokes, so
Yeah.
we're not afraid of shit like that. That shit doesn't bother me.
Yeah, bitching witch is pointing out the origin of the word cuckolding is from the Middle Ages and was a term for a man with an unfaithful wife.
Yeah.
Which, no, it's different from the modern king. That's where the negative connotations come from. No, I'm totally aware of that. But like right now, it's with John's open relationship, it's not him being cuckolded. You're not getting cuckolded because she's not being unfaithful to you. You both are exploring when you have the opportunity to explore.
And I'm not getting, it's not a fetish, so.
Yeah.
And that's what the hard part that people don't realize is that if it's a fetish, that's cucking. That's being cuckolded.
Mm.
I mean, the modern insult is a little bit different, but I mean, it got reused in the porn scene, so that's where it kind of came out from, in the kink scene.
Pretty ass.
How does it feel now you're helping contract just a match?
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Long live the mutt.
The mocha chocolato, baby.
Yeah, but yeah.
I could use that. What do your wife do, women? I'm just asking for a friend. Do your wife?
Well, she's disabled now.
Oh, it's okay.
But yeah, she.
That okay. Now I feel sad.
Yeah, don't. How dare you ask me that personal question?
I don't know what what did I ask?
It's not a big deal. It is what it is.
No, it's sad. Okay, that's
not
okay.
really sad.
I'm glad. It's much easier then.
I don't need pity.
I'm not pitying you.
Well, pity me, goddamn.
Okay, you filthy Joe. Stop it.
Well,
Yeah.
God damn it. But no, that's I don't know. I guess I can understand the why people would automatically assume, because it's a possessive thing when it comes to, oh, you're letting your woman go and fuck around. Well, obviously you must be a cuck because that should be yours and yours alone.
I don't let anybody do anything. It's not my goddamn choice. I don't own anything. I don't own anybody. We don't own each other.
You don't take slaves.
Exactly.
We are with each other. It's a difference.
Yeah, no, he cannot. His wife is black. He cannot claim her as his slave. That is illegal. No. That is
I can't.
That is illegal. And
it's not illegal in the kink scene.
Touche. Juden.
Yes, Rudy. He's filthy Joe is what I called him.
But but no, it's one of those possession things. That sense of, you know, this is my person, therefore it's mine. And that's why, like, the idea of open can be so
Oh,
can
I
have so many negative connotations to it, because automatically you're thinking like you're gonna let, you know, you would allow that to happen to what's yours. And
yeah, there's a lot of, and one of the reasons why it's the same thing in the kink thing too. Which is why when you start getting into like kink groups and stuff like that, why they're very, very, very selective. Why you have to go down to those stupid munches and shit like that. Why they have to vet people all the time. Because there's fucking crazy people who don't have a goddamn clue what's going on, and they have a lot of misconceptions of what's going on. They saw a movie and they think it looks cool, and then they get involved and they're like, I was not expecting this. Does not compute. And they have meltdowns.
no, I have a strict vetting process now, especially when it comes to subs. Like I there are too many people who don't understand. Like, it's a couple of years ago, there was a friend of mine who was like, "Oh, here, let me bring you this sub. He's a sub." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I try to get him to talk to me, and I'm like, "So what are you into?" And he's like, "Well, I don't really know. I just like the idea of, you know, a woman just doing whatever she wants to me." I'm like, "Yes, but I need to know what you don't want done to you." "Well, I don't really know." No. That's not how this works, hon. And that's how it is with the BDSM community. Is you have with the actual BDSM community, you have to have this kind of vetting process, because there's way too many people who will take it to extremes. And then with open relationships and stuff like that, like, I would say you even kind of need a vetting process for that.
Yeah. Yep. And Victor, you're not actually far off. That's exactly what happens. May not be Denny's, but that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
No.
I
How basically like kink houses and stuff like that, where they throw kink parties and stuff like that, where they're basically somebody has a house or a place where people meet up to do kinky shit to each other. You don't want anybody just walking into that house.
mm-hmm.
There's a funny story about one of the parties that somebody got vetted incorrectly. They showed up. They thought it was, who can. They had this misconception of who can beat who the hardest, and the house owner, the house owner's subby, who was like 6'5", like 350. He was a huge dude. He was like, he's tall. He's ridiculously tall. He basically picked up the dude and just in his skivvies and threw him out the door. One of the funniest things I ever saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I quick break. Not having a break. I'm having a breakdown. No, okay. So Cell is here and Tyro is here, and y'all get 10 minutes to duke it out. Come on, bring it.
Okay.
Wait, before you guys start duking it out, first Trippy Poop asks, whatever happened to normal sex, where you spank her ass, bite her, then finish on the nearest table and make her snort it?
Christ. Oh, Trippy, Jesus, fuck. That's disgusting. Don't snort it. Ew.
Okay.
It's gonna get caught in your nose hair.
No, you wait till it dries up, and then you crush it down into a powder, then
And
snort
now, for something completely different. The battle
it. So,
of
all
Cell,
right.
Tyro, and John.
Go on.
Okay. Let's see. God, sorry, it's been a little long, so I've forgotten some of the points that I was going to make earlier. AP kind of, it was like, what? I wanted him to say, "I am the Prince of all Saiyans." Anyway.
Oh,
So-
that would have been amazing. But I don't need to be any more moist. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, John, one thing you said earlier was that you like polygamy because you don't have a way or like because you don't feel that one person can satisfy all of your areas of interest. But isn't that what friends are for? Like, I mean, I don't take when I have a girlfriend, I don't take her
No,
out to like.
I was I was referring to like, for example, like when other sexual partners and stuff like that, you're never going to be able to fulfill your partner every fantasy of your partner. So if your partner is into Asian men and you're a white dude, you're never going to be Asian ever. Or if you're uncomfortable with something, and your partner can find someone that does that, go at it. Not for me.
Now, I may have missed it, but precisely what kind of poly are you in? Are you in hierarchical, non-hierarchical? Like, what are the?
I don't.
Are you like
there's fucking names for this shit.
Yeah.
So break it down. There's
Okay.
not really. I don't think we have a hierarchical.
Okay, so hierarchical is where you differentiate between primary, secondaries, tertiaries, and where the assignment. So the primary is your primary partner, the person you spend the most time with, usually the person you live with. Then the secondaries would get a secondary amount of time, tertiaries, and so on down the line. I think tertiary is usually where it pans out. The other trick too of the hierarchy, if say you had a secondary and tertiary, if the secondary like a tertiary you had a plan with, but a secondary called up was like, hey, I want to do X with you, and it conflicts, the secondary gets priority. And likewise, your primary gets priority over all the others. So the needs of your primary take precedence over the needs of the others, and so on down the line. It's a way to differentiate the partners so that like who's the best person, or so on.
Yeah, we definitely don't have that.
Okay, so you do the non-hierarchical requires much more communication because it's not structure, it's less structured.
Yeah, there's no structure. There's no structure because keep in mind that we've been in both situations because some of it's tied into the BDSM world where my primary dealings with the BDSM world is primarily sexual. Primarily, I'm a pain slut, so I get sexual gratification from pain.
Wait, are you which side of the slash are you on?
Which side of receiving?
The DS slash.
Receiving, well, both. Technically, because I'm a switch.
Oh, okay, all right. I am
all the above.
Okay, yeah, I'm not a switch myself, so.
But for example, my wife is primarily a dom.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right, the Kadun I think is a dom. I'm a dom. So on.
So you're a master dark pants?
What?
I said you're a master dark pants?
Oh no, I do not attempt to dominate everybody in the room when I walk in. I've seen people do that. Oh my god, it's so
hilarious.
No,
yes, but what kind of dom?
Oh, me? If you guys ever have an episode on dominance, I'll go in more in depth here. It's not about me; it's about John. Anyway, let's see. I'm just trying to wrap my head. So, are you both engaged in so you have girlfriends and she has boyfriends, or like are you both hetero or are you bi or I'm also trying to wrap my head on
I'm
that.
hetero. She's bi.
Okay.
But primarily it's been both. So not on my side, but on her side.
Now, do you have it where you each do your own thing independently and then also hang out together, or do you intermix the circles? In other words, so like you're both dating the same person, for example, like you have a unicorn, like a designated unicorn, as well as independent relationships and so on.
It's been both, but primarily it's independent.
Interesting. Okay. The now
I am an interesting person.
So you mentioned that you're more on the sexual side. I'm trying to also just understand yourself, because every poly setup I've seen is a little bit different.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And when I said debate, my main thing when you said can't find another person, I usually find that once I find someone who I enjoy being with, I'm I'm good. And if they're not into everything I am, if I have friends, there we go. And she can do her thing, I can do my thing. It's okay. I don't have to have sex with another person. But
Yeah.
I understand, like, in terms of adventurous sexuality. Okay, that's interesting. Now, so you mix sex with your BDSM then? Because I know Kadanja said she doesn't.
That's right. Now that's primarily my, but with her, she also has the because she's also taken in live-ins.
Oh, so now do you live with her?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you live together. So, but she also has additional.
She's had live-ins, and she's had it's hard. I'm trying to explain all of the nuance, but she's had both.
Huh. Okay. So she's also had the live-ins there. So, okay. Darn, I'm trying to remember where I was going on this.
It's those one situations are primarily that they want to have their entire lives dominated. So
the 24/7.
Basically, almost
the 20. That's what I meant by live-ins. They're 24/7s.
Yeah, almost the slaves.
They're the ones that we call the paint my house.
Yeah,
right.
the slaves.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know that style. So for you, is the interest primarily? So the interest is mainly like. Oh, actually, there we go. Do you differentiate between boyfriend, girlfriend, and that kind of partner, and say play partner, and say like dominant, submissive? Like, do you differentiate? Because I've known people who are like, oh, I have a boyfriend and I also have a dom, because my boyfriend doesn't do that, but I have a dom, but he's just a play partner. I'm not emotionally connected to him. It's just physical. Is that kind of what you do, or is that part of a component of what you do?
Yeah, I probably have. I don't typically go into the one relationship is good enough for me. But but so my primarily is play partners. Because she's had the live-in at the 24/7s. Those are typically a little bit more intricate and more closer to an actual relationship, boyfriend girlfriend relationship, whatever you want to call it. But
okay, so she mixes. So she considers the slaves to also be like a boyfriend or girlfriend.
It's not an absolute, but she can.
Huh. Okay. Now, how long have you guys been doing this? Since you got married, or?
Oh, well, before we got married, we met, and how we met was actually because back in the day when I was in a band and I was looking for a singer. She was a singer. We hit it off. We got married.
Huh.
And so we've been that way ever since. And we've been married for, that would be 19 years now. And it's always been open. Always.
Now, if it's open, what keeps you with her? What have you ever encountered someone who tempted you to kind of be like, oh, hey, you're awesome, or like you're more compatible than who I'm currently with? Have you ever run into that situation?
No, not really. Not really. And I'm also not really looking either.
Okay, well, if you're not looking, yeah.
I'm not looking. I don't think she's really looking for that either. It's just, but we're getting old, so so that shit's kind of, that was for the younger year stuff. But that.
Okay.
Well, what about you, Zelly? Like, what kind of things did you want to pop in here for?
I was just confused. And then kind of like Tyro, I was like, why the fuck did I get on here again? But like, one thing that did bother me that it always stands out to me and irks me when people ever conflate what someone can do versus what someone should do, and when people pretend that somebody can't do something that can then change whether or not you want them involved in your life and to what level. That's really annoying. Like, if you're like, well, she could do what she wants to do. She's her own person and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I could do whatever the fuck I want to do to you too. It's going to change your assumption of me. It's going to change your characterization of me. And it's going to change your life though. And anybody can do whatever the hell they want. If Kadunt was an asshole from the word go, I wouldn't be involved in her life. We wouldn't be like family. She can do whatever she wants, but it also is going to change our perception of each other and how much we can trust each other. Kadunt does stuff for me that she has never had to do. I've done stuff for her I've never had to do. And that's what's made a bond, a really good friend bond, a family bond. And that's the same way a relationship works is whoever you get in a relationship with doesn't have to do fucking shit. But the moment they don't do shit, I would hope for your good graces, for any self-respect you have, you'd be gone. And that's just what I'm confused about. I don't know exactly what you mean by, well, they can do whatever they want. Well, yeah. And then I hope that you don't waste time on people that can't make promises, can't make commitments,
Okay.
or want to help you pretend that what you're in might be an option when it's less so, when it's maybe more so what you can get or what you feel you can get. Not saying it's exactly you, but that's what I find. I wasn't
I still
exaggerating
have
when
no
I
idea
said
what you're
when I
asking.
said in the comments in the chat, I wasn't exaggerating when I said I've never, ever, 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 ever seen a single open relationship where I've been like, I can count on that for more than a few years. I just set my watch and I go, okay, now let's watch this thing fail every time.
Okay. So what do you want to know?
All right. Correcting me on anything, then we can assume that everything I just said was a perfectly good evaluation of your situation.
No, I don't know what you were asking. You just made a bunch of statements and you just said a bunch of stuff and then
Yeah, clarify. If any of those statements are wrong, clarify.
no, you came on to ask me a question and what are you asking about my relationship?
I just made a bunch of assumptions, didn't I, character-wise? So you better clear them up, or I'm going to assume that they're pretty accurate.
You can assume anything that you fucking want. It's not my problem.
Fair
I think
enough.
you need to summarize a little better, Zell. I think there's a little confusion of like what is the point you're trying to get across. Like I don't think you were as clear as you could have been.
Well, when you say that that person doesn't owe you anything, just clarify on that.
What do you mean? What do you mean they don't owe me anything?
Like you were in a joking way. You said something to the effect of them not being your slave or what have you. You know, clarifying your point there. Do you mean that no matter who you're with for your entire life, for the rest of your life, no matter what, whoever you're with, if that person's like, I want a side penis in me soon, that under your philosophy, you could never turn that down?
No, that's not true at all.
Okay, good.
Okay. Thank you for your approval.
You're welcome.
I don't know what the hell you want me to respond to that for. I'm like, no, that's not true at all. That's why we have communication. That's why we talk about what we're feeling. If we don't like somebody, and we've had that situation before, where someone isn't allowed in the house because I have a problem with someone, or she has a problem with someone, or whatever.
Yeah, I've heard this with every single open relationship I've ever seen happen, and they always crumble because we're human beings. We can't be that accurate.
Okay.
So, I mean, so then are you just one of those people where you just, you realistically accept that, yeah, one day this could all come crumbling down and then,
Yeah, one day we decide. That's why I said we don't always practice. It's not a demand. It's not this is the way it's going to be forever.
Well, as Kadunt was talking about something that we have experienced recently, someone close to us, open relationship, stuff like that, and it crumbled because one of the partners decided, no, I found something that I think
No,
is
because
better,
she's
and
a
I don't
stupid
want to.
bitch who didn't follow her fucking rules.
She's a
She didn't
stupid.
wanna
Well,
follow her
she's a
fucking
stupid
rules.
bitch.
No, no.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
stupid.
she wanted that backup plan. That's what it was. She wanted that fucking backup.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry. I'm gonna
Yes.
go on a
Okay.
rant.
Yes. And it's very fucking infuriating when people pretend. Yeah, you just have to know the person, like, because you could find people that just aren't going to give in to their, innermost instinct like that. Like, no, it's like you can't. The thing is like you can't rely on that. That's why we have the relationship, that we have the monogamy, we have the trust, and you do the best you can, and it's never perfect. But that's why we have that, because I think that's just one of the more annoying aspects of it. And again, I'm not saying you're committing any of these sins, John. I'm just saying that this is one of the more annoying aspects about hearing about open relationships is everyone about them sounds like they got it down to a science, and that, if something went wrong, it's okay, we'll just wipe up and we'll go. And then every single one of them, it doesn't end quietly. It doesn't end with a whimper. It ends with explosions.
Yeah, so
And
does
everyone
every
going,
fucking,
how did this happen? It was because of blah blah. Because we're
so does
fucking
every
beings,
fucking
you moron.
relationship.
What's
So
up?
what? It's not, you're not saying anything that's not already existing in every relationship ever.
Correct.
So
But
it can
with a
all fucking fall apart.
with a relationship, there is an advance towards a more clear agenda. There's an advance towards a more
What
clear
agenda?
building of a foundation and securing it. There is there's a reason why there's the buddy cop movie.
What?
Don't give me that third cop. Those buddies, they.
That's an interesting comparison. To expound on what Zell I think is hinting at, one of the things I wanted to ask is, the usual backlash with the standard poly relationship. What I've observed, my observations match Zell and Kadun's, is they fall apart because intellectually a person may be able to process like, hey, logically I can optimize my relationship by having multiple people who serve multiple purposes across different fields, and then through the amalgamation of that, oh look, I have now the perfect relationship. Intellectually, okay. Emotionally, though, that typically falls apart, because usually what we want from an instinctual primal level is ownership. Not ownership necessarily of the person, but ownership of the relationship. And monogamy offers that definite ownership in some ways. So what I'm trying to understand with you, John, and I find it interesting, is do you have a strong sense of ownership in terms of when you look at your wife, when she looks at you, do you feel like you belong to each other?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No. Now, when it comes to the whole ownership thing, when it's involving relationships, I follow by the laws of the animal kingdom. You pee on it, it's yours.
Yeah, the territorial imperative is very, very real. That's from our chimpanzee. And,
All right.
that's our mammalian brain,
We're
not just
getting
our
into
lizard
golden
brain.
showers now.
Hey, nothing wrong with a few water sports, right?
I think Lo-Fi would agree with you on that.
Look, I'm not sticking a hose up my ass. All right.
Right, okay.
No.
Okay, that part I definitely do not agree with. Oh Jesus!
Thank you,
Fuck.
Will. Thank you.
God damn it!
Grody.
No stuff. Come on. But I think no matter the disagreements, can we all agree on one major thing, whether it be a poly or a monogamous relationship? Can we all just agree that you gotta communicate with your fucking people? Like,
Agreed.
that should be like the number one rule.
Of course.
I agree on like go have your fun, fuck around, this and that. Where I just think you lose me and you sound pretty silly and unrealistic is when you say, now I'm going to form a relationship, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm with you on this. This is cool, man. I'll praise you for that. And then you're like, and in this relationship, we're going to strive to get through this world together. Okay, all right, by fucking others. Okay, you're not in a relationship again. Now you're just fucking around, but you guys really like each other, but you're not, to me, you're not getting.
No, but Sal, that's a slight misconception right there, is the fact that, like, they're not fucking around it
No, I
to
never said- I never
grow
said
their
that. I'll
lives
clarify, too.
with each other. They're just walking through their life, and they're still like, well, I can accept and enjoy going out if the opportunity arises. But you're the person that I have my life with.
clarified. I know. I explained. I clarified that anything I'm saying, I'm not necessarily saying that John is committing these. I'm just saying this is coming from somebody who, off of everything that I know about open relationships, and I've had quite a few of them around me, and every single one of them hitting the shitter. And with John, I guess, John, what exactly are your rules?
Well, our what do you mean? Our rules is that I don't know what you want. What my defined set of standards is. Number one is communication. I want to know who, and I don't need to be there.
Okay, so if they didn't tell you, about a,
are you
if
in an abusive other abusive relationship, or are you safe?
if they didn't tell you,
Yeah, that would be a problem.
about a certain partner,
That would be a problem.
then there would
Okay.
be a problem. Now, here's my question: can you then, at that point, can you or can you not then admit that you then asked for that scenario way more than other people who are into monogamy?
What?
Because you've introduced the idea of open relationships, because it's only at that point one more step away of like, well, why not tell my partner, why not hide this one from my other?
What?
Why not then? It makes it way easier, right?
I'm not sure I follow your logic
I
on
don't
that.
understand what you're talking about. I don't.
Why not hide this one? You know what I mean?
Why not hide what? What do I have to hide for?
if I don't know. That's a great question, John. But almost every single one of them that have imploded around me, it's happened because of that.
Yeah, but you're right. But you're bringing your.
You might feel like you're fostering this environment that's just like, yeah, but when it comes to communication, she has every reason in the world to want to communicate this to me. And then you might get surprised, John. You might get dick slapped in the future and be like, oh, there is a reason still.
Yeah, I'm okay. I am.
Oh, I did want to ask, do you have children, John?
No.
Did you plan to have children at any point in the relationship, or were you both anti-kids?
Anti-kids.
Okay. I could see why it would be more sustainable without children involved.
Oh, of course. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's an even tougher route for a lot of people.
All right, so I'm
Okay,
going to.
Closing
I'm going to.
Now,
Yes.
closing statement from one from each. You get one each. No fighting each other. A single one.
I'm not.
No, I
I'm
don't
not,
think there was much fighting. I just think there's a misunderstanding. I don't know if John's either not selling it right or that I misunderstand it.
I'm probably not selling it
That's
right.
okay.
Well,
What I would
you
say
really
is
just
like
sell
you guys are. What I would say is like you're dating a girl. You guys are in deep, and you're fucking around. Whenever you so choose to agree, you communicate that well. That's it. I'm saying that when you ratchet up the stakes as far as like, okay, our promises need to be a lot more solid because we're, for example, going into something financial together. We're, for example, doubling down on this together, a house or scheduling and all this stuff. The more serious it gets, the more I think you're being silly and unreasonable when you're like, and by the way, we're still going to be like, it's okay with other vaginas and penises. Then I'm like, okay, then I'm just going to set my watch here and wait for you guys to implode.
Yeah, it sounds more like you're bringing your experience with people, and you're casting that onto me. I'm like, not my problem. It's that's on you. It's not me.
It's hard for him to wrap his mind around the idea of an open working. That's it. No need
Don't
to
make
worry
this the
about it.
Inception movie. It's not hard to understand. It's just that
Anyway.
people sell it wrong. And
And
what you have
anyway.
is somebody who's selling it is like, so we're in like the way I guess it comes off is like, holy shit, you're in a relationship
It's
where you
not
guys are
it's not
dedicated
my
to each other no matter what, and you take other dicks and vaginas. No, it's not what it is though. You just got to cool off on that definition, dude. You're dating
Next closing statement.
It's
Yeah.
not
Who's next and who wants to go with their next closing statement?
Yeah. Tyro, do you have anything?
Oh yeah. One, I would like to hear like Aiden Paladin or someone who's good with social psychology, I would love to hear what studies are out there involving this. My impression from poly, based on observation, is I have known one or two people like John who have been able to make poly work. I won't say I've seen 100% of poly fail. I've seen some people who are very committed to it, although most of what I've seen is that it gets experimented with in the younger years and then it's discarded when people want to, quote unquote, settle down. I think the only sustainable form of poly that historically speaking is what's called the closed triad, where you have the 3 people involved, and even then can be unsustainable. I mean, Alan Moore lost his wife to the unicorn they brought in. I mean, that's a famous example. But you have had like Joseph Needham had 2
Okay.
wives.
Tyrone, closing statement, not closing novel.
Sorry.
But
Wow.
Apologies. Okay.
I was just thinking about
But-
Jack. I just had to say it. I'm sorry.
What
Pardon.
what I think is interesting. All right, I'll skip to the point. What I think is interesting is I think John is that 1 out of a million who is mentally able to kind of suppress that chimpanzee, mammalian, rawr, mine kind of side and to have it. But I think the majority of humans, that is not the case. I think a problem, and I think what Zell might be intimating at is a problem we have today is that you have people who think that, oh, I can do it too, and no, they can't, because they are not wired for that. That
Yeah, I would tell the same people that to most people is that they can't handle it. It's going to be a problem. It's
So,
a
John,
long, hard road.
your closing statements.
My closing statement is, I don't know. Do whatever the fuck you want. It's not my problem. Not mine.
Okay, and we have a $20 super chat from Ragnar Ulfbert. Something people forget and never take into account is that DNA from every load of semen a female takes vaginally does work its way into their brain and does have impact on the chemical balance and the DNA as well. All hail Blue Whale. Fried power, I guess. Thank you, Ragnar. That's very nice. Now you can't afford weed, and I feel a little bad.
Well, doesn't that help you get food, Lo-Fi?
Yeah, everything does.
Yeah, they need to stop feeding her. That's one thing. Okay, a carrot a week is good enough for Lo.
So my closing statement would be obviously poly or open or swinger relationships. They're not for everybody, and communicate with your fucking partner, like whoever it is, just communicate with them. And that's the most important thing that I think anybody could take out of it is whoever you're in a relationship with, fucking communicate with them, and in a healthy way. Don't just fucking go at them in an aggressive and negative manner, just because you're feeling insecure.
Yeah,
Or
so
don't be
if
an
you can
ogre.
hear this, if you can hear this stream, then and you're thinking that you can do an open relationship, you can't. You are wrong. I just saved you there.
Probability says
Anyway.
you are wrong. It's not. It's the statistics and
You're
science
wrong.
says you are probably wrong. Yes.
It's just safe to bet you're wrong. There you go.
Yes.
Because you probably are if you're hearing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
John, you're cool, man. I think there's just a misunderstanding, but you just
I
seem
just
like a casual,
wanted to
laid back
know
dude.
you.
Okay.
All right, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks for
Clean your
joining.
cocks,
Thanks for
clean
joining.
your
What a
cunts.
great show. Thanks.
Make
thanks
sure to
so-
clean your cocks and clean your cunts.
And unlike Brachus, remember to wipe your ass.
Ew.
Oh God.